sold by my own mother to human traffickers. I thought I had escaped when I took destiny into my own hands. But every night, a paper doll with my face would whisper in my ear, "You've been saved, but I died on the operating table long ago." I thought the nightmare was over, but the gates of hell opened once more. This time, I wasn't just running for myself. I had to live to save the versions of me who hadn't even had a chance to be born. While I was showering, a piece of decaying skin fell from the shower head. I screamed and called the police. My stepfather's corpse was quickly pulled from the rooftop water tank. His once burly body had decomposed beyond recognition, dissolving into the water supply for the entire residential area. No wonder the water had a strange, foul, fishy smell lately, and its quality had plummeted. My mother insisted I was the culprit. "It's that girl. She always falsely accused my husband of peeping on her in the shower, jealous that I favored her little brother. An ungrateful wretch." Amidst her wailing accusations, I merely bowed my head, quiet and soulless. Our water tank was on the rooftop, requiring a 3-meter ladder to reach. Carrying the corpse of a robust man up there, let alone one that was supposedly conscious, was an impossible feat for a frail woman like me. The crime scene showed no traces of a second person. Yet, there was one strange detail. The police found a paper effigy next to the water tank. These paper effigies were typically burned for the dead. I explained calmly, "It's normal. My stepfather works in funerary rites, making votive offerings. The paper effigies prepared for the funeral home are all kept in the house. More accurately, they fill my bedroom." Detective Lee frowned, circling the room, his eyes fixed on me. "Then why does this effigy look exactly like you? As if cast from the same mold." My heart hammered. "It resembles me in a strange way." I reiterated the rules of making paper effigies. First, never make them for the living. Second, never paint eyes on them. Paper effigies with eyes are said to possess a spirit and attract evil. But the effigy next to the water tank not only mirrored my features line by line, it also had a pair of gleaming, lifelike black eyes. Its eyebrow shape, its figure, it resembled me by 70 or 80%. "Detective Lee, I heard your stepfather once snuck into your bathroom, and you two had a scuffle a few days ago, didn't you?" I nodded. The bruises on my forehead, the scratches on my hands, couldn't be fake. My stepfather just opened the wrong door. We only had a small argument. I repeated the same words I always used when my father silenced me. What's there to argue about among family? The paper effigy wore a dazzling red wedding attire, its long hair reaching its shoulders, its mouth stretched into a wide grin from ear to ear. As the police turned their backs, I couldn't help but smile at it, and my smile was precisely the same sinister grin on its face. "Detective Lee, do you believe paper effigies can have souls?" The turning point of my life began 2 months ago. That night, my stepfather tore up my university application and sold me for $50 million. I tried to accept my fate, not pounding on the locked door, nor screaming through the windows, which had been welded shut. My mother cried and pleaded, "Raising you is only for your own good. 50 million could secure a child for your brother. He's barely a year old. Girls have to give birth sooner or later anyway. The stifling summer heat pressed down on me. The creaking fan swayed. My stepfather, shirtless, his murky eyes scanned my body. Just like your mother, fertile. Here, in his eye. My university entrance exam was in 2 months. I couldn't go anywhere. The black market organ traffickers were coming. I cowered in my desperate room. My last friends were the paper dolls. Since childhood, I never had blonde dolls. I only knew how to confide in them, crying and complaining about my biased mother, worrying about a bleak future. They were my only confidants in life. Crying until I was exhausted. I drifted off to sleep. In the haze of unconsciousness, something caressed my face, wiping away tears from the corners of my eyes. But it wasn't a human hand. It was soulless and feather-like. The rough, cold surface felt like cardboard, the cheap, coarse paper commonly used in funerals. I jolted awake. Just a nightmare. Hell. The room was still silent. Dozens of paper effigies, male and female, faced my bed, staring at me. In the front, a paper doll wearing a kippah, with rosy cheeks, slowly blinked at me. A cold chill pierced my heart. I told myself it was a hallucination. Suddenly, its crimson lips, painted with cinnabar, moved. Luna, do you want to change your destiny? The female effigy smirked. Its red lips, painted with cinnabar, fresh as blood. My heart hammered like a drum. I nearly fainted on the spot. That's right. Recently, there was a horrific case. A beautiful young girl went missing. Then her body was dumped. The culprit had thoroughly removed all her organs before killing her. This batch of paper effigies is an offering for that unfortunate victim. The paper doll whispered, "In a while, you'll be taken by 2 men. That underground black market is a living hell. You'll become a breeding hen, birthing one child after another. When you're no longer valuable, they'll sell your organs. If you can't fight back, your future will only be hell beneath the grave." I became certain that this was the vengeful spirit of the victim from that case. My stepfather had shirked responsibility, secretly handing over the keys to the traffickers. He had taken my mother and brother and vanished, so that even if the truth came out, he could blame it on burglars. So, what happens next? I tried to suppress my trembling as I asked. The paper charm curved its crimson lips. "You still have time to prepare, hiding a weapon on your person and launching a surprise attack. That's the best option." Its bottomless black eyes fixed on me, as if saying, "It all depends on you, little girl." 10:16 p.m. The fated time for reversal. In this strange moment, I became strangely calm. From my breathing and muscles to my heart rate, everything dropped to a chilling level. I had to fight back, otherwise I would be the next victim. Taking a deep breath, I quickly scanned the room. My cramped room was filled with chaotic clutter, no different from a storage room. A rusty wrench, a well-hidden dagger, and a bottle of dried herbicide. A razor blade could sever an artery. A sharpened pencil carried similar lethality. If I wanted, countless ordinary objects could become weapons. I quickly took off my nightgown and put on my multi-pocketed jeans. My brain worked like a machine, scrolling through countless possible scenarios. The door was locked. How could I both hide and attack? A reckless idea flashed in my mind. I sprinkled the herbicide on the bed, emptying the rest of the bottle. Outside the window, an unmarked truck quietly parked in the yard. Our house was in an apartment complex built in the 80s. The foul stench from the nearby garbage dump meant the number of residents in this building could be counted on one's fingers. The truck stopped in a secluded corner, out of sight of any neighbors. Two figures, one short and one tall and stooped, crept out of the truck in the dark. Tick-tock, tick-tock. 4 minutes left. They were coming up. I glanced out the window, then focused on my task. It was strange. A few minutes ago, I wanted to give up, but now I was the hunter. I sprayed mosquito repellent on my clothes. The pungent smell stung my nose. I placed the empty bottle at the head of the bed. Everything was set. 1 minute left. I sprawled myself on the bed, feigning poisoning, trying to suppress my pounding heart. The sound of a key turning in the lock echoed from the living room. Is this the one? The voices of two men rang out. Yeah, heard she's a good student, about to take college entrance exams. She's expensive. Rich bosses love good genes too. So before delivery, we can quickly grab her and have some fun later. I swallowed hard. The last 30 seconds, fear ignited in the darkness. The two men used my stepfather's key to open my room door. They crept in, startled by the room full of paper dolls. What the hell is this? All funeral stuff. I had to stay calm, relaxed. My nerves were stretched taut like guitar strings. The thumping of my heart echoed in my ears. If they turned on the light, they'd find me instantly. Fortunately, they didn't. My ankle went cold as a rough, greedy hand groped it like a venomous snake's tongue, damp and foul-smelling. I gritted my teeth, suppressing a scream, lying still as a corpse. The impatient man noticed something unusual. Strange, what's that smell, mate? The other man turned on his flashlight, eyes wide, and exclaimed, she drank herbicide. A dead person won't earn us a penny. They checked for breath. There was barely a flicker left. After discussing, they decided taking me to a hospital was out of the question. We need to photograph her while she's barely alive to dump her on the black market. One of them hoisted me up and rushed me downstairs. Clunking sounds echoed in the dark night. I cracked my eyes open, my vision blurry and swaying. I saw the door of room 302 ajar. The old man, living alone on the third floor, was peeking out, inspecting the hallway. Our eyes met for a fleeting second. The man behind me seemed to sense something, turned his head, and a murderous glint flashed in his eyes. But the very next second, he waved a hand in front of the old man's face. The old man's pupils were milky white. He was blind. His clouded cataracts couldn't see anything. My last hope extinguished. Keep going. Don't cause trouble. The tall, lanky man signaled. They quickly descended the stairs. I was violently tossed like a puppet into the back seat of the truck. My cheek pressed against a pile of foul-smelling clothes. The strong stench of blood made it hard to breathe. The two men thought I was poisoned and unable to resist, so they didn't tie me up. I subtly moved my fingers, feeling for the folding knife in my pocket and pulling it out. The paper effigies warning echoed. The first rendezvous point is half an hour's drive from your house. At the second intersection, the truck will pass a police station. They'll react the fastest there. Don't rely on others. Only you can save yourself. Yes, no one could save me. The first time my stepfather beat me half to death, my mother chose to go to the market to buy groceries. When I cried, telling her my stepfather stole my underwear and repeatedly tried to break into the bathroom while I was showering, my mother showered me with scolding. What's there to fuss about among family? This girl is narrow-minded from birth, it seems. I tried to use my academic achievements to prove my excellence so I could earn money and no longer rely on my stepfather. But she was cold. You're young. You'll recover quickly. I have experience. Out of the 50 million, I'll give you 5 million. I'll hold on to the rest, fearing you'd squander it. You can just focus on carrying the baby. All the hatred, cultivated through every pang of pain, fermented and seethed, waiting to explode. To kill someone, the left carotid artery is the fastest. I silently observed the driver's seat and the passenger seat, both occupied. The driver was tall and burly, while his accomplice in the passenger seat was short and stout. If I attacked the driver first, the car would lose control, and the chance of me being subdued would be high. Could a mind that solved Olympic math problems not calculate this? After we started moving, I began to count the time with my breathing. 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Each second passed. The more I counted, the more stable my heart became. At the 720th second, the blade snapped out with a swish. I suddenly lunged towards the passenger seat, my body exploding with terrifying strength. With a speed even I couldn't imagine, the dagger plunged directly into the short man's neck. He shrieked in agony. The driver slammed the brakes. As I had predicted, he wasn't wearing his seatbelt, and the strap momentarily jammed his car door. I seized the opportunity to pull out the razor blade hidden in my pocket. The panicked man missed the brake pedal. The car didn't slow down, crashing directly into a lamppost at terrifying speed. Crash! The explosion echoed in the dark night. After the impact, the world spun upside down. The last thing I saw were several police officers rushing towards us. Had I changed my destiny, I was saved. After all, the accident scene was only a few hundred meters from the police station. Authorities suspected these two thugs were connected to the previous case of the dumped teenage girl's body. The victim was ultimately of similar age, similar family background. All girls undervalued in their own homes. My stepfather vehemently insisted he had nothing to do with it. Our family was going to visit relatives. The girl was asleep in her room. We carelessly lost track of her. Who knew burglars would sneak in? The police didn't believe a word of it. They forgot their daughter, but didn't forget to lock the bedroom door with multiple locks. Where did those two thugs get your house keys? The thugs were tight-lipped, insisting they only broke in to steal. My stepfather pointed directly at me and snarled, "Who knows if this slut seduced some man outside She must have given them the keys. I quietly turned to the window. Outside, the sky was clear and bright. From the third floor of the police station, I could faintly see a station gate. After gazing for an unknown duration, I slowly spoke. I'm a witness. I can identify them. The old man on the third floor told the police and confirmed he was a witness. My stepfather shrieked, "You just crawled out of an egg. What the hell do you know? If you dare to lie, I'll kill you." I couldn't hold back a cold laugh. The old man had cataracts. His eyesight was very poor, but a month ago he had surgery and recovered his vision. His unfilial children didn't help with his medical care. Neighbors did. But they don't know this. In those 3 minutes, I had spent 2 minutes constantly sending distress calls. Police, I'm Luna from room 702. My parents sold me. The vermin are coming. They do all sorts of evil things, even cut open stomachs for organs. Save me. I wrapped clear foil around my little brother's glass marbles with tape, layering it multiple times, unsure if the old man would hear. Through the window crack, I dropped the marbles one by one. The sparkling spheres fell. Some bounced far away. Some landed in a flower pot on the third floor balcony. A few hit the ground with clinking sounds. And finally, the white-haired old man picked up a marble. He immediately called the police and then stood guard at the door. He witnessed the 2 thugs carrying me downstairs. They carried little Luna away. They even tried to kill me, but seeing my clouded eyes, they spared my life. His voice trembled with indignation. I'm the only one in the entire building. Their house is closed year-round. I'm sure that at exactly 6 p.m. that day, her father took his wife and child out. I even heard her mother ask, "Did you lock the door properly? Don't let anything happen." Only money can pay for our son's prestigious primary school tuition. My mother loudly defended herself. "Luna, what nonsense are you spouting? We're all family. Why go this far?" I was stunned. So, 50 million was for my brother's school tuition. My future wasn't worth his single admission fee. Andy, she started the same old refrain about how hard she worked to raise me, as if I was born to compensate the family. She worried I'd suffer if I went to prison, but didn't care about my fate in the hands of traffickers. For the first time in my life, I pushed my mother away from the embrace of that falsely pitiful enemy. Whatever he did, the law will handle it. Pleading is useless. I looked straight into her eyes, my heart shattered and numb with every stab. I will never forgive you. Never. Less than 2 days after my stepfather returned from the police station, he drowned in the water. When I saw the paper effigy, I had pieced together the entire sequence of events. That night, he went to the rooftop to fix the water tank, was scared into a panic by the animated paper effigy, and tumbled into the water. At the funeral, my mother furiously cursed and scolded me. She gripped my hand, intending to slap my face, but her eyes darted to my younger brother. "Mother, do you know, it stabbed him once or twice, and yet he still didn't die. Just give me a little more time. I could even kill them. Ungrateful wretch. I'd rather lay an egg and store it than give birth to someone like you." Her eyes were bloodshot, her face distorted with ferocity. Only then did I recognize the true fear in her. I reminded her, "Don't provoke me. Now, I just need to take my university entrance exams. A good dog, when bullied, will turn into something wild and fearless, showing no deference. My mother was so scared that she took my brother back to her hometown that night. Nearly, I gladly enjoyed the quiet. In the middle of the night, as I slept, I heard the old door lock creak a few times, as if something was trying to open it. The door opened, but there were no footsteps. I only felt something stroking my cheek, more carefully than before. I immediately opened my eyes. Before me was the paper effigy with scarlet lips, bearing a grin. This sight alone was enough to make an adult faint. Facing the now animated effigy, I was no longer panicked like the first time. I lifted my head and looked straight at it. I had faced death. Now I had the courage to look anyone straight in the eye. I was no longer afraid of anyone, anything. Are you the girl from before? The paper effigy's cheeks were flushed red, glowing even more brightly under the desk lamp. It replied, its voice tinged with satisfaction. Yes, a possibility slowly dawned on me. So you are me. Why did you help me kill my stepfather? The paper effigy bared its teeth in a grin. Because I am you, Luna. Luna, you are the future me, who died on the operating table. You are the wronged soul, who perished under the surgeon's knife. You are the Luna, who was captured by thugs, imprisoned in an iron cage, giving birth to one child after another. I had vaguely guessed this, but never dared to fully conceive of it. I plunged into utter sorrow. Even though she was now just a paper effigy, I could feel a special bond between our two souls. I softly asked, how long were you imprisoned in that organization? A very long time. So long I didn't know what year or month it was. Outside, the paper effigy's expression remained unchanged, maintaining a chillingly joyful face until my body was utterly depleted and thrown into the recycling station. Only then did I see the sun for the first time. My fingernails dug deep into my palms, so now destiny has changed. Sister, will your future find peace? The paper effigy was ruthless. If the future truly changed, I would disappear. But I still exist. This proves that your future hasn't truly been averted. I bit my lip tightly. That organization will continue its crimes. The paper effigy said if you can change your destiny once, you'll have a second chance. Your university exams are coming soon. Focus on your studies. Don't forget our dream. Didn't we always want to go to university in Beijing? Ah, we haven't climbed the Great Wall, haven't seen the Bird's Nest Stadium, haven't watched the Beijing Olympic fireworks, haven't seen the sunset by the sea, haven't strolled in the Shanghai suburbs. Please, complete all these things for me. She knew all my most secret hopes. Even in this hell on earth, she hadn't forgotten her ideals. I quickly wiped away a tear, afraid my tears would wet the paper effigy. Embracing myself gently, I promised I would definitely do it. When I returned to my final year of high school, I felt as if I had just come back from another life. As I was diligently taking notes, a notebook was pushed towards me. Notes from the classes you missed. I want to win this practice exam fair and square. The speaker was Ethan, my new deskmate. This handsome, aloof guy was our class president. He was always the consistent runner-up in the whole grade, always a few points behind me in every exam. I heard that during the days I was confined at home, he had mobilized many teachers to petition and even rallied the whole class to write a petition to the Department of Education. "Thank you, I'll catch up," I said, taking the notebook. Suddenly he asked, "Yesterday, I intended to bring the study guide to your house." My heart sank. "You weren't home, so I went to the rooftop to look." His eyes were full of suspicion. "I saw you talking to a paper effigy." "Why?" The sudden chill down my spine made my throat go dry. I tried to stay calm. There was no one else around to talk to, so I just mumbled a few words to myself. Then, why choose to talk to a paper effigy? If you want to confide, the whole class is available, right? Or maybe the person sitting next to you is already dead. He must have thought I was crazy. But I countered. "How did you know I was on the rooftop?" This time, it was his turn to be speechless. His voice was even. "Back in 10th grade, during a picnic, playing charades. You once said you'd go up there whenever you were sad." I was stunned. I had no recollection of that. At home, I recounted it to the paper effigy. Luckily, she hadn't spoken up. I wondered how much he had heard. The paper effigy replied in a robotic voice, "May 22nd, 2007. The class went to the park. You said it yourself." Ah, so that's how it was. I never participated in any extracurricular activities because I had no money. That time, Ethan helped me get a job at the library. I worked for 3 weeks just to earn enough to go out. I collapsed onto the bed. The paper effigy stood silently beside me. It kept staring at me, the corners of its mouth seeming to curve further, forming a strange smile. Drifting off to sleep, I wondered. I had completely forgotten about ghost stories. How could the paper effigy, my future self, remember so vividly? I woke up to the shriek of a newborn baby, the thick, suffocating stench of blood filling the cramped space. I frantically realized I was naked on an operating table, my belly swollen and bloody. Several drops of blood fell from my sides. In that moment, despair pierced my heart. This is the black market. Why am I here? Wasn't I at home? Hadn't I changed my destiny? 2 masked men ignored my pleas. A cold scalpel made an incision on my abdomen. They treated me like an animal. What had gone wrong? I groaned in pain. But my body was as soft as mud, only knowing how to comply. "Let me go. Save me." My weak words were swallowed by the whirring of machines. Never had I been so terrified. Without a drop of anesthetic, I painfully gave birth to a tiny life. The baby was motionless, its face bruised purple like a ripe plum. The 2 men shook their heads in dismay. They threw the child into a clattering iron trash can. "Premature. So it's a defective product. This batch can't be delivered to customers. Time to send her to the recycling station." Recycling station? Code for slaughterhouse. This place was a profit chain where every woman was completely drained of every last drop of blood under the guise of thorough recycling. The operating room lights shone like a golden flower, illuminating my blood-soaked body. In a daze, I laughed. All of this was just an image from before I died. In reality, I had never changed anything. I was still in this hell on earth. The transporters were those 2 gangster brothers. In this time-space, They had never gone to prison. They had taken me to the reclamation center to remove my corneas, then both kidneys. Finally, the most valuable organ, my heart. On the black market, a heart could fetch millions of dollars. I convulsed, gasping for breath, in the trunk of a car. Every jolt made the blood flow more violently from my lower body. I continuously bit my tongue to stay conscious. In the compartment, full of miscellaneous leather goods, I found a wrench. Before dying, I had extensively researched escape skills. This old model car trunk lock had a cover plate for the keyhole. After removing the cover, I repeatedly experimented in the dark, turning the lock cylinder counterclockwise. I didn't know how many times I tried until, as my consciousness was fading, with a clicky, the lock sprung open. The car stopped at a red light. Just then, I seized the opportunity to open the car trunk. Fresh air rushed in. Ahead was bustling traffic. Without hesitation, I jumped out. Luna! Luna! I jolted awake from the nightmare, my whole body drenched in cold sweat. I gasped for breath. Outside the window, the golden sunlight was still bright, but my heart still pounded. My lips trembled. My roommate asked anxiously, "Are you okay? I kept calling you, but you wouldn't wake up. I thought everything was just a dream." But the next second, my eyes widened. My legs were covered in wounds, scratches from scraping against the road. The paper effigy explained, "Perhaps my appearance caused time to intersect. Now, you are like Schrodinger's cat. You could descend to hell or remain in heaven. Luna, you are not allowed to take a single wrong step." I wanted to nod, but my entire body felt drained of all energy. I buried my face in my hands, sobbing for her, for myself. "Sister, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." My sobs choked me. I wiped away tears with the back of my hand, but the more I wiped, the wetter they became. "I want to save you. Why can't I save you?" "I'm sorry." My version from another time. "That 17-year-old girl named Luna, you won't have the chance to take the college entrance exam, won't go to Beijing, won't have a future. You can only endure everything until your last breath." The paper effigy patted my shoulder gently. It was a thin, weightless touch, but I felt as if a hand was soothing my heart. "You've done very well, Luna, but from now on you must do even better. I believe in you." The next day, I returned to school with bloodshot eyes. As soon as I arrived, the academic vice president rushed over. "Luna, your mother is causing trouble at school again. She's insisting you quit." This time, my mother wasn't alone. She brought several maternal relatives and a man to school. With backing, she declared herself my guardian, demanding I drop out, and announced she had chosen a good marriage for me. My good son-in-law will come today to pick up Luna for the wedding. "Teachers, please, don't ruin this girl's destiny." The good son-in-law she mentioned was a gambler and drunkard over 40 from our village, who had beaten his ex-wife to disability and was constantly in and out of jail. My classmates whispered excitedly. I should have been trembling with anger or filled with despair. But after living a life like a beast of burden, I found I had lost all emotion. Ethan held my arm tightly, his eyes full of worry. "Don't go home. My father, is a lawyer. He'll help you. They have no right to take you. He stood in front of me along with the teachers, blocking my relatives who intended to forcibly take me away. I calmly said, "Thank you," and stepped past him. Facing the lustful gaze of the gambler, I asked, "Do you know my stepfather drowned in the water tank?" "Everyone in this region knows about that case," I continued calmly. "Read the news report. The victim was my stepfather, also my mother's husband. Immediately, not just my classmates, but the gambler's expression changed. My mother probably didn't tell you this, did she?" My voice was flat, devoid of fear. But his feet trembled, and he quickly denied it. I smiled and continued. 5 years ago, a case of a dumped female student occurred in my city. It was a human trafficking organization. A month ago, my stepfather and mother sold me to them. Fortunately, I fought back, injuring the 2 men, and escaped. But I'm not sure if they'll come back to seek revenge. Do you guess my stepfather's death was their doing? I picked up a paper cutter from the teacher's desk and slammed it onto the desk. "You want to marry me? Have you prepared to pay the price?" My ashes-like, world-weary indifference made the gambler flee in panic. My mother was so afraid of being implicated that she didn't even dare to reclaim her deposit. Her gaze froze on me. No one would hinder my studies, not even my mother. Every day I lived from now on was the future that Sister Luna had exchanged her life for. I wouldn't allow anyone to snatch away our future. I didn't care about the gossip, nor was I bothered by the avoiding glances of my friends. My only goal now was the university entrance exam. I had to go to Beijing, to the best university, to fulfill the dream that Sister Luna couldn't even achieve in death. My mother came to school to cause trouble, but the principal had instructed the guards not to let her in. The principal arranged for me to stay in a school dorm. There were less than 10 days left until the exam. Today, I asked for leave to get my uniform. But in reality, I wanted to see my future self, afraid she'd be too lonely by herself. Ethan enthusiastically offered to take me home, saying casually, "It's on the way anyway." On the way? I've seen your address. Beijing and Nam Street are thousands of miles apart. He then confessed, "I was afraid you'd be sold off in the village again." His embarrassed expression made me laugh. I also told him the truth. Actually, I came to see my paper effigy. He held his breath and shrugged skeptically. "Your hobbies truly are bizarre." "Yeah, I remember last year there was a haunted house at the amusement park, and I went crazy." "If you're scared, you can go ahead," I said. But he stubbornly followed, carrying his backpack. A hero saving the beauty, huh? Others see you as an anomaly, and don't dare to talk much to you. But he's the one who trails after me, asking, "Are you scared?" Then answering himself, "But I'm more scared of you being taken away. I'm afraid you'll give up." So scared. He took a deep breath, trying to keep his face calm. "How long have I sat next to you? I don't understand your brother. You're heartbroken by your mother's favoritism towards your brother. You try to get first place to get your mother's attention. I know it's not your fault. Finishing university can change things. With your good grades, you'll get scholarships and student loans. This summer, we'll tutor together." He pulled a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket. "I've already contacted some students in the area and negotiated prices." I was astonished. taking the old creased paper. I didn't know how many times he had looked it over. A warmth indescribable pierced my icy heart, but I didn't dare make any promises. With a bleak future, could my promises ever come true? Thank you, I will never surrender to fate. Sister Luna, Sister Luna. After Ethan left, I trudged upstairs. Strangely today, the paper effigy stood still, silent all day. As I wondered, my nose caught a strange scent, faintly familiar, to the point of being chilling. It was my mother's cheap perfume. I spun around in shock, but it was too late. In that very moment, my mother, eyes wide and bloodshot, burst out from the wardrobe. She raised a whole blade high, without hesitation, striking me straight on the head. My consciousness flickered, as if trying to escape my body. My mother's whisper echoed in the darkness. Luna, they came to find me. They said, if I took the money, I had to deliver you. Don't blame me, only blame your miserable fate. Blame yourself for harming your stepfather. So, it was my mother who had pushed me to hell. The place I arrived at was a location that had appeared in my nightmares. 20 girls were confined in huge iron cages. Their faces were gaunt like walking corpses. And similarly, they got on Hita Nilanda Hatal. Chicks, their breasts, having given birth multiple times, sagged like a mangy dog's. The basement air was suffocating, thick with the smell of feces, urine, and sweat. Only when chosen by a customer were they taken upstairs, granted a bit of grace for 10 months. Because of this, many girls eagerly longed to get pregnant. They didn't know that, after losing their use value, they would truly face their doomsday. My folding knife was always kept sharp. As night fell, I silently pulled a steel wire from my bra. This slender metal wire could open any lock. For the past month, outside of school hours, I had dedicated all my time to studying survival skills. I asked the locksmith at the night market to teach me his trade. He was afraid my mother would come to cause trouble again, but out of pity, he imparted all his secrets. The first night, I opened the cage lock, but then I locked it again. It wasn't time yet. There were too many hurdles. I only had one chance. On the third day, a customer chose us. The man named Master 3 led me away for a blood test. He was the manager here, his burly frame carrying me like a chick. I remained silent, conserving a bit of strength. Suddenly, an alarm blared shrilly. My heart sank. Master 3's expression changed when he received the news. The police are surrounding the factory, saying it's a routine inspection. Damn it, how did the police find out? The underground facility is deep beneath the earth. Above it, a perfect livestock farm. Even inspections should be done by the veterinary agency, shouldn't they? Master 3 pushed me towards his henchmen. Immediately, move all the goods. The goods were us, the girls imprisoned here. In the underground basement, there was a secret escape route for transporting the goods. That man unchained and pushed the girls into the tunnel. Taking advantage of the chaos, I used the steel wire to unfasten the shackles on myself. To say I wasn't afraid would be a lie. My heart felt like it would leap out of my chest. But at this moment, it was as if I had practiced this countless times. I felt as if some kind of power was guiding me. I took a deep breath and forcefully stabbed the steel wire into the electrical box, then splashed a bucket of dirty water from the floor onto it. Boom! The electrical system short-circuited and the entire area plunged into darkness. Right next to the electrical box was the electric bicycle that the kid usually charged. Before the security guards could react, the bicycle exploded. A dazzling burst of flame erupted, electrical sparks flew, and an ear-splitting explosion resonated. I yelled, "Run!" The panicked girls finally snapped out of their stupor. At first, they hesitated, looking at each other, not daring to move, but the fire grew larger and larger. Finally, they gathered enough courage to run. I shouted instructions, helping them climb the escape ladder. Just as my foot touched the first rung, a strong force from behind pulled me crashing to the floor. The guard cursed, pinned me to the ground, and relentlessly beat me. "I'll beat you to death, you bitch." He was strong enough to break my teeth. My mouth filled with blood. The fire grew more intense. My flesh burned painfully. "But it's good." I smiled, a tiny smile, without regret. Even if I couldn't save myself, I had saved many other girls. My only regret was that I would never see the fireworks in Beijing. My throat tightened, consciousness gradually blurring. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the wall of fire. No, that wasn't a person. Sister Luna. Why is she here? The guard was utterly astonished. At this moment, Sister Luna was no longer a flimsy piece of paper. She weighed 100 pounds, her hands tightly gripping the burly man's thick neck. Oh! I lunged forward, even more terrified than a human. I rushed to save her, but her strength was strangely immense. I couldn't move her. The fire spread across her face, burning her features, two crimson cheeks glowing like vulgar paint. "Luna, go!" Her eyes fixed on me, as if wanting to say one more word, one more letter, so desperately to clear the path for me. My vision blurred from the hot smoke. The fire finally erased that peculiar face. She smiled. The corners of her eyes curved, sweet as if blessed. "Run! Don't look back, okay?" I was almost exhausted, my whole body spasming with pain. Thick smoke choked my lungs. Sister Luna's voice still echoed in my ears. "Don't forget your promise, Luna." I dared not forget, could not forget. Our future from now on depends only on you. Yes, please rest assured and entrust it to me. My tears evaporated in the sea of fire. I clenched my jaw, squeezed my eyes shut, and struggled to climb up like a wild flower, pushing through a rock crevice, towards the sunlight, towards hope, growing up through hardship. But this inside. The police sirens blared. Finally, I climbed out of the tangled iron ladder. This was National Case 603, which shook the entire nation. The police had successfully dismantled a notorious criminal syndicate, rescuing 32 victims held for organ harvesting. The body of the dumped girl was a victim abandoned by them after being exploited until nothing of value was left. Through a well-planned ambush, the buyer, who was actually an undercover police officer, had successfully completed the mission. At the press conference with the police and media, I, Luna, and Ethan were all present. It turned out that after I went upstairs that night, he had quietly waited to surprise me. When he discovered I had been kidnapped, he immediately memorized the faces of the suspects and the license plate number with skills only a professional investigator possesses. Everyone was particularly impressed with my self-rescue ability. Miss L. Luna, weren't you afraid at that time? How did you manage to do all that? Before the camera, I pondered for a long time before replying, do you believe in miracles? Among 8 billion people on Earth, how many have witnessed a miracle? I believe because I saw it with my own eyes. My throat caught. The sensation of burning fire still lingered in every muscle. I will never forget it in this lifetime. I want to thank myself, my future self, who saved my present self. On June 7th, the university entrance exams officially began. When the guardian saw all the gap, finally, began. It was strange. GCT always rained heavily on exam days, and this year was no exception. Outside, the rain poured down. I placed my hand on the drenched glass pane, feeling the moisture seep into my skin. In that moment, I suddenly remembered Sister Luna, who had been consumed by the flames. Rest assured, sister, your dream I will fulfill for you. During the days waiting for the exam results, the villains were also arrested. Human trafficking is a grave crime. Ethan's father volunteered to be my legal counsel in the case. In court, my mother shrieked in defense. She's alive and kicking. Why blame me? I gave birth to her. Her life being worth a few pennies is only natural. Ethan's father calmly replied, you organized human trafficking. That is enough to constitute a crime. Whether the victim's organs were removed or not does not affect the sentencing. Furthermore, you previously tricked 3 village girls by introducing them to jobs within the trafficking organization. 2 of them had 1 kidney removed. Ultimately, she was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Not long after, the exam results were announced. Unsurprisingly, I was accepted into a prestigious university in the capital. The day I received my acceptance letter, I went to the rooftop. The sky was clear and bright that day. The cicada chirped ceaseless. From above, I could faintly see the hazy city skyline. Hurried footsteps echoed from the stairs. Ethan rushed up, his shirt drenched with sweat. He breathed heavily, only holding up the acceptance letter in his hand. With excellent scores, Ethan had been accepted into the police university in the capital. With your abilities, you could have chosen a better school, I said. But I just want to be a criminal police officer. He replied, his teenage face flushed with unshakable determination. I want to personally catch all the bad people. I want to protect you. Protect people in circumstances like yours. The scorching heat suddenly seeped into my heart. In his eyes, I saw my reflection so clearly, even my smile appeared there. I wondered how long it had been since I had smiled so freely. I laughed until my eyes stung with tears. Ethan hastily comforted me. Why are you crying? Today is a happy day. All the days from now on will be good. Sister Luna, this is just a memory of mine. I remember your words You must move forward. See, I've truly done it now. I'm going to Beijing. I'll see the Olympics, watch the fireworks, walk through every street, go to all the places we dreamed of seeing in our textbooks. I will cherish every single day. You shouldn't look back either. Then we will walk straight ahead together. You can see it all now, can't you, Sister Luna? What a memory! Hey, please forgive me, everyone. I lie. I am not Luna. Though I come from the future, I am not Jiuyi. But between us is the most intimate connection in the world. Luna, are you my mother? I am your daughter. I am the daughter of you and Ethan. Do you want to know how the original world unfolded? You were very easily captured by those two gangster brothers because your stepfather and your mother, my grandmother, handed over the keys. They put you in a filthy truck. There were no surprises. You became a breeding hen in an iron cage. You were intelligent, healthy, and beautiful. You became the most favored product by the bosses. You thought that after giving birth to one child, you would be sent back, so your birth mother would let you continue 12th grade. But no, they never cared about your life or death. In just 2 years, you gave birth to 4 children. One boss demanded twins. But by then, your body was too weak. You miscarried midterm. They had forcibly opened your uterus. After that, your body completely collapsed. Seeing that you were no longer valuable, they took you to the reclamation center. On the way, you damaged the car trunk. Then, with suicidal resolve, you jumped from the car. But fortunately, you didn't die. The officer in charge of the human trafficking case was your old classmate, Ethan. Dad loved you. For many years, he ceaselessly searched for you. But this love was opposed by everyone. Though you repeatedly rejected him, my father, that man, defied the world's ridicule, stubbornly staying by your side. Several years later, I was born. When I was little, I vaguely realized Mom was different from others. Your body had many strange scars, and you had to go to the hospital for regular checkups. Your abdomen was covered in countless horrible scars. You were afraid of darkness. The lights always had to be on at home. You dared not lie flat when sleeping, habitually curled up like a shrimp. You rarely went out. Even though Dad tried to persuade you, I still saw the terror in your eyes when looking at people. Like a bat, accustomed to darkness, unable to face the sunlight. When I struggled with homework, wondering why my friends all had help. But Mom knew nothing. You stood there as if guilty, your hands and feet awkward, not knowing where to put them. Then Dad had a private talk with me. He showed me many pieces of evidence, photos, and told me that this glory rightfully belonged to you. I was astonished. My mother was always the top student in the entire grade. You should have become a lawyer, but those torturous days had left you with dyslexia. Your talent and dreams had been crushed long ago. Dad, a typically discreet police officer, had a trembling voice when he spoke of this. She was the most excellent girl. She should have gone to the best university, studied a top major. Nora, do you know why I named you that? His eyes were bloodshot. I feared you yearned for sunlight so much. That's why I named you Nora, warmth, representing a small sun, hoping to bring warmth to you. The first time I truly learned about your past was through distant relatives' gossip. Those far-flung relatives during Tet would pull you into the kitchen, whisper, then show appropriate pity. Such a pity, what she went through. Do you know what your mother endured? Oh, it was awful. How she survived is a mystery. If my son married a woman like that, I'd never let him marry. I wanted to shut them up. But when I looked up, I only saw you, Mom. Your face was as pale as a fresh corpse. You only offered a soft apology to me. I understood. You were afraid I'd despise you, afraid I'd hate you. But how could I? Mom, within me was only boundless rage. I was furious at why utterly evil people existed in this world, enraged by the injustice of fate. I hated the stepfather who sold you out. I hated little brother too. I was disgusted by those idly casting judgment. Mom, you don't need to be ashamed. It's this world that should be ashamed. We once sought the best psychologist for your therapy. She hypnotized you to recall your memories. After less than 2 sessions, the famous expert broke down and suffered severe depression. You told me everything you remembered and didn't remember, every detail of the days you were sold. I understood every day, every minute of the living hell you endured. I felt the pain of needles piercing your ovaries, stabbing through your body, the panic as your belly grew each day. I understood the despair as your youthful dreams shattered. After taking medication, you often unconsciously cried out for help, begging everyone not to touch you. You mumbled, "If only I could go back to that day. What should I do to change my fate? If not for Nora." On the way that truck passed a small police station, you uttered countless times, "If only I had gone to the police. If only I could turn back time." You said you would sacrifice anything to protect me. Mom, your insomnia worsened. You could no longer distinguish past from present, frequently hallucinated, living a life worse than death. Your emaciated body curled up like a shrimp on the bed, your once beautiful face now withered. Dad and I couldn't help alleviate your pain anymore, because ultimately, none of us had truly walked through hell. In this world, no one could truly understand your pain. That night, the weather grew strangely cold. I slept so soundly, almost dreamily, faintly feeling a hand caressing my face. Pulling the blanket over me, a hot tear fell on my cheek. I think you even whispered an apology. After that, you put on your nightgown and walked alone into the cold sea. The waves kept crashing, but you never returned. At the funeral, those relatives came again. They gossiped gleefully, so irresponsible, abandoning her child and leaving. I told you, this kind of woman is trash. Who will raise Nora now? A woman's hand is needed in the house. That's right, Ethan. Auntie here knows many people. Let me introduce you. Dad, like a ghost, his eyes empty. I, wearing mourning clothes, stepped forward, swung my hand, and a sharp slap echoed through the funeral hall. I slapped her directly in the face. Get out. Don't let me see you again. So, Mom, I met you at 17. Please forgive me. I couldn't help but borrow the paper doll's body to touch your face. You, at 17, were a blossoming flower, still delicate as an early morning dewdrop. But I had to protect you in my own way, which might be very extreme. To defy destiny, I had to dare to stare into the abyss. I understood every pain you had experienced. I calculated countless scenarios, how to get you out of the hands of those two thugs in a mere 7 minutes. How to teach you the fastest way to fight back. What skills did you need to learn to escape that cruel fate? Those futures forced you to mature, to learn ruthlessness. I hastily cultivated it, only hoping you would grow stronger. Mom, every day I reminded you of your dreams. We would go to Beijing for the Olympics, go to the best university, shine in the workplace. That's how your life should have been. When you were choked by the guard, consumed by the flames, seeing your face streaked with smoke and tears, I tried my best to pull you away, but I couldn't follow. Luna, go! Mom, run! Run! Don't look back, okay? Run towards happiness. Don't turn back. That's all I can do for you. I'm about to disappear. That day, I knelt before a Buddha statue, sincerely prayed. Suddenly, a voice echoed in my ear. Give you a chance to change the past, do you agree? I looked up in astonishment. In the empty shrine, there were only 1,000 flickering oil lamps. The Buddhas gently closed their eyes, looking upon the world with compassion. But once the past changes, your current body will also vanish. You cannot be reborn. You will lose all spiritual cultivation, and your mother will remember nothing of you. Your existence will be completely erased. Do you still want to? After 10,000 prayers, the Buddhas finally replied. I didn't hesitate. I agree. I will use every means to free my mother from hell. No matter what, I will have no regrets.